Hi, I'm Tammy Manning.
And I'm Matt Manning.
And just give me a recap of where we are, and then a little bit about what's happened here.
We are in Franklin Forks, Pennsylvania, in Susquehanna County. Our water became contaminated shortly after gas drilling in our area. December 11th, 2000, or December 6th, 2011, our water started erupting from our well, and about 4 months later, we got a water buffalo. The gas company brought in a water buffalo at the request of the DEP and PEMA. And 16 months after the investigation started with the DEP, we got a letter saying that they can't prove that it's the gas company that contaminated our water. So the gas company is now going to be pulling the water buffalo out, and they've stopped deliveries. We haven't gotten a water delivery since last Wednesday, 6 days ago, and they're planning on pulling the buffalo, the plumbing, the heater, I guess the box, the whole 9 yards out. So we have to replace all of that and find our own water deliveries at this point.
And the company is?
WPX Energy.
WPX?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so they own this equipment? They own the water buffalo?
I don't know
we
who
don't
owns
really know
the
who owns it.
equipment.
We don't know
If
if
they own
WPX
it
or-
or Guy Parrish owns it, we're not sure.
Who's Guy Parrish?
They're the company that's been servicing the water buffalo, and they're the ones that bring the water and
Change the filters.
Change the filters. And they're hired by the gas company to take care of it.
What are you doing for water right now?
Conserving.
Yep.
Do you have anything in your tank left?
We have 2/3 of the tank left.
Now, this tank that you have right over here, is this just for bathing, or
That's
is
it.
Do you?
It's non-potable water.
It's what makes it non-potable?
Well, it sits in a tank. I mean, it comes from one spigot into a truck, from that truck into there, and that tank has been sitting there for how long?
Since March of 2012.
So, and it's never been pulled out of there and sanitized or anything like that. So, it's not for drinking; it's for bathing, and that's it.
What do you do for drinking water?
Got to buy it.
Buy bottled water.
And
A lot of people donate water to us.
people donate water?
Mm-hmm.
And
There was
then
a delivery in Philadelphia, a water drive. We've gotten water from a lot of people.
how long ago did the first eruption happen?
How long ago? December 6th, 2011 was the first time we noticed it.
2000. So it's almost 2 years, coming on 2 years now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And so in that length of time, how much money out of your own pockets would you say you spent on water?
More than we should have had to have. Let's put it that way. I couldn't tell you, but way more than we should have had to have.
Is it $100, $500, $1,000?
Plenty.
Probably
Closer to 1,000.
Probably at least 1,000.
Okay, so let's just recap. The present situation is what?
Present situation is the gas company is no longer required to leave this buffalo and stuff here, so they're going to be pulling it out, and we are going to have to replace all of this.
So what is the issue with your water right now? I remember seeing the video of the eruption happening. Is it just methane, or is there other problems?
No, it was high levels of methane, high levels of barium, high levels of iron, high levels of chloride, aluminum. It wasn't just the methane. The methane is the thing that concerned us the most because our well is very close to our home, and we were concerned about our home blowing up.
We had high levels of gas coming out of the faucets and stuff. We couldn't use our kitchen stove. We couldn't use our furnace and everything else because there was so much gas coming out of the water. You couldn't use it.
So have you had your water recently tested? What do you think the issues are now? Do you think gas is still a problem?
Absolutely.
I'm sure it is. I've seen other people's water in the neighborhood that have tried putting their wells back online. I've seen the amount of gas coming out of them, and
Lights right on fire.
yeah, we were able to light it on
The
fire.
gas didn't disappear. It didn't go anywhere.
And our water hasn't been tested since March of 2012, the last time the DEP came in, so.
So the stuff that, have you ever had anybody look at your water results and try to figure out, like barium, what, like is that typical in fracking fluids, or is it drilling muds?
It's natural in the ground, but the levels that we had aren't natural on the surface.
So it's just the drilling that stirs everything up down there, right?
That's what we say.
That'd be my guess.
Okay.
The gas company would argue with that, I'm sure, but it's funny that nobody had problems until after they came in and started drilling.
How many of your neighbors here are affected?
There's 3 families that have water buffaloes in our neighborhood, and a 4th one that is vented.
Which ones are those?
Across the road has a water buffalo and a vent.
Like this house here?
That house there.
Okay.
The store right next door has a vent coming out of them.
And they have
The-
high levels of arsenic,
and-
and they have a sign posted in their store.
This is Heavenly Angels, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then which one?
About 3 houses up the road.
Can't see it from here.
You can't see it.
No.
And what about this house next door?
No, as far
No,
as we
they
know,
have a
they're-
shallow well, so they weren't impacted yet.
And Matt, you were telling me the depths. Can you say again? Tell me again on camera. What's the, like, how shallow is shallow here?
Well, my neighbor's well is only 17 feet, but like I said, every time it rains, this water turns to mud, and you're getting septic runoff and stuff. It's not a well that shallow. It's not fit to drink out of anyway, but our well was 158 feet, and the neighbor's is roughly 170. That seems to be all the wells that are in that depth range. And then the neighbors up the road, they said their well was 300 feet. We were up there last night talking to them. So it seems to be the deeper wells that are affected. The real shallow wells are okay. There's no methane, but
And how far away was the gas drilling operations that you think were, like, what was going on here when your well went bad?
well, the one that we think caused the problems is 7,000 feet away, which is, a mile and a third.
And what's the name of that well?
The Pew well.
That's it's on going back towards Salt Springs.
Yeah, it's the one directly across from Salt Springs, and they claim that our problems are related to Salt Springs, and we're a good mile and a half from there. But it's funny that Salt Springs ended up here a mile and a half away, right after they drilled a well directly across the road from it.
And how long were the laterals coming out of the Depew well?
I'm not sure.
Do they go 7,000 feet?
I really don't know. I mean, I think most of the laterals go roughly a mile on them, almost all of them around.
And wasn't there drilling? I remember driving up up on top of the hill.
There's another one up here across behind us that's 4,000 feet.
What's the name of that well?
That one's the Hollenbeck.
So that we got the Hollenbeck and then
And that one was actually drilled closer to our problems. The time frame
the time frame.
was a lot closer to our problem.
That one was drilled, and that one was fracked.
Say that again.
The Hollenbeck was drilled, the Depew was fracked right around the same time as our problems.
Okay,
That
wow.
one was drilled, I think, in earlier part of the summer that year.
Tell me something noteworthy about the Depew well.
Shelley Depew from Truthland is one of the owners,
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
isn't it?
And don't they have a problem?
She failed to mention in her Truthland movie that there was a couple of wells up there that did have problems and casing failures, and there was all kinds of problems up there. But none of that ever made the Truthland video. The wells on her own property had problems.
Weren't they even cited by the
Yes.
DEP?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, we talked about the families that are affected. Oh, okay. I know something I wanted to ask you. So, what's the capital costs of installing your own water buffalo? Like the buffalo, the shed, go over all of those costs. The heating unit.
The Buffalo is going to cost us $800. The heating unit, we have no idea. We haven't even gotten around to pricing that. We just bought a pump. That was $120. The wood, God only knows how much lumber we're going to have to use. It's like $25 a sheet for the plywood. The insulation's another $16 a piece.
Probably at least $200-300 in material just to build the shed.
So you said the Buffalo itself was 800 plus 200 or 300 for the shed, 8, 9, 10. So we're probably
You gotta have a heater.
We're guessing around $1,500 a piece.
so 1,500 for a Buffalo, and that will serve how many families?
That's for one family.
That's just for one.
That's just for one.
Everybody's gonna have to.
All 3 families have to pay that out.
You either do that or you use contaminated water. So, or you risk blowing your house up by going back on your well, which we're not going to do. I'll bathe in the creek first if I have to. But that well will not be fired back up.
Let me just make this thing go quiet. Hold on. Okay. So $1,500 roughly for the water buffalo. Now, what about reoccurring costs? Like, what have you got an estimate from a water delivery service? Like, what it's going to cost? Like, let's say per month.
Per month? Well, per week, if we get one delivery for the entire neighborhood, which would be 3 buffaloes, I got a cost of $200 to $225. That's for one delivery for the three families, which would fill everybody's buffalo once.
So you said, say again, $200
to $225 per delivery.
So divided by 3.
Divided by 3. One buffalo is 550 gallons. The other 2 are 1,100. So roughly it would be $80 for us per delivery. The neighbors up the road, $80 per delivery. The people across the street have a smaller one. It would be around $40.
Okay, so now, how often have you been? What's the capacity of your tank right now?
Ours is 1,100.
And you're gonna try to replace it with an 1,100?
We have an 1,100 on order at Tractor Supply. It's another 3 weeks before it'll be in. We had to get a rain check for it, so we don't even know if we can wait that long. The lawyer said no.
What are you going to do for 3? What happens if they take out this buffalo and before you get your new one in? What do you do?
That's a good question. We don't know. We've put out an appeal to some people in Dimmock that have had the water problems and possibly have water buffaloes that they can loan us temporarily. Good question.
So, and were you getting, with this existing one, how often were you getting water deliveries?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day?
Every day they
Yeah.
came and topped it up.
Topped it up. So you have no idea, like, if, like this $80 a week deal, if you're are you gonna be able to deal with one tank, one fill a week?
We aren't going to have a choice.
You have to conserve.
We have to ration it.
You're just not going to be able to use it like you would normally.
I know the people up the road have a lot more people in their family than we do right now. We've had people in and out. We had as many as 7 or 8 people living here at one time. Right now it's only 3 of us. And my daughter comes back and forth.
We have the grandkids quite a lot.
The grandkids are here on the weekends, so, but the people up the road, we're more concerned about them than us because there's like 7 or 8 people living in their homes, so a 500 gallon isn't going to do them any good.
But I mean,
through a day.
Say again?
That'll get them through about one day. That's it.
A couple days maybe.
So I just don't understand. So, because I'm used to living in a city, when I want water, I turn on a tap. So are you saying that, let's say you get on this once a week, $80 for once a week plan, I mean, can't you get additional deliveries if you use more, if you drain the tank in a week, or
We
is that
could. We would
Probably
have
at
to pay for that.
additional cost.
additional cost?
It's a water tanker, like a tractor trailer. So they would come, they would deliver to all three of us, fill us up, and that would be our $200 or $225 delivery.
So it's likely to be at least $80 a week
At least.
just for water to get clean, and that's water just to bathe with. That's
Yep.
not, and go wash your clothes with. That's not cooking. That's
Nope.
not drinking water.
Nope.
So what's the additional cost for the cooking and the drinking water?
Oh, geez. We never stopped to add it up. We never really stopped to add it up, but I mean, we go through probably at least 3 gallons of water a day, bottled water.
I just
Every day?
bought a gallon, and it was like $2.50 at the store.
Did you?
Yeah, at the convenience store.
Well, yeah, it's expensive at those, but get at the grocery store, it's $1 a gallon, but still, by the time you use 3, that's $3 a day.
So $3 a day plus $80 a week. So that's that's 21. So that's $100 a week.
And that all depends on what you're cooking, if it requires water or don't require it, or, you know.
If you're cooking a turkey in the oven, you got to rinse the turkey. Things you don't think about when you don't have water.
Yeah.
So if people in New York are watching this right now, I mean, how can people in New York help out here? What would you say that you would need? Can people bring water? Can they donate money to an organization?
Yeah, they could bring water. I don't know what organization would be the organization to donate to it at this point. I don't really know.
Has any organizations like nonprofits been helping you out? Like, I could name a few, but I don't know. It's only been...
Shale Shock Outrage did a water drive. I think it was Shale Shock Outrage.
Shale gas.
Shale Gas Outrage, yeah.
Yeah.
Down in Philadelphia, I think Thursday.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's just been...
I don't know. I mean, we've been talking to a lot of organizations, Food and Water Watch and all these other organizations, but Pennsylvania, we've actually been working more in New York than in Pennsylvania with a lot of the organizations. We just started talking to the Food and Water Watch people in Pennsylvania maybe a month ago. We've been to Philadelphia to a rally. We've been to New York to rallies. We've been to Washington for rallies, different organizations. But, I mean, all of the ones we've ever dealt with are good. I just don't really know who's taking donations or...
What's your long-term plans here?
We don't know. We don't have a clue. We got to kind of take it day by day, because we don't know. Seems like every day there's something different, so we just don't know.
It's hard to plan a future around a house that doesn't have water. We bought the house, we decided we wanted the house, and then a year and a month later we don't have water, so much for any plans that we had for the future. You just don't know.
Do you have kids?
We have 3 daughters. We have 3 grandchildren and 2 on the way.
What do you tell your kids and your grandkids about?
Our granddaughter goes to rallies with us, and she tells us things. So she tells other people things. She knows a lot about the water issues and the gas drilling, and she knows it's not good, and she knows why we're fighting. She knows that we're fighting for her future and her brother and sister and her cousins, and we're fighting for all of their futures and everybody else's children's futures.
Do you have a gas lease?
We get mineral rights from what they take out from under us. We inherited that with the home. It wasn't something we voluntarily signed.
We only have a third of an acre, so
That's not much.
it doesn't, you know, what little bit we get.
Pays our
I would
homeowners
rather
insurance.
have my water.
So, what do you think is going to happen? What's your long-term prediction about Pennsylvania in this area?
Don't drink the water.
I mean, what's this place going to be like in 50 years or 100 years?
I don't even want to know. I won't be
Probably
here.
a ghost
I won't
town.
be here then, but my grandkids will, unfortunately, and I don't even want to know. And so I won't be here at that point, but my grandkids probably will, and I don't even want to know what it's going to turn out like in 50 years when all these wells fail. They're all known to fail, and over years, more and more and more are going to fail, and I think you're just going to end up with one big toxic mess.
Because we're talking about right now figuring out ways to get water for a few families here and there. 3 in Franklin Forks, a couple dozen in Dimmock, maybe a couple in around the other places in Susquehanna County. What's it going to be like if, like you said, if like a third of the wells start leaking and a lot more wells,
It's
water
gonna
wells start
be
going?
problems everywhere. I mean, you're not going to be able to drink the water no matter where you go.
How are they going to bring water in for more than just a few families? How are they going to bring water in for 100 families?
They're fracking right now, right next to the lake in Montrose, where it's the whole town's water supply. The lake is the entire town's water supply out there, and they're fracking right next to the lake. So that's a good question. I don't know where people's heads are. Their heads are in their wallets. That's it.
Exactly it.
People just don't care about what the future brings. They're more worried about a short-term goal, which is their piggy banks, and they're not thinking about their kids. They're not thinking about their grandkids or generations to come. All they're concerned about is fattening their wallets. And guess what, people? It's not happening down here. People get a couple of big checks, and then next thing you know, it all dwindles down to nothing, and then the landowners are bent out of shape because they're not getting their royalties. Well, surprise! We're not the only ones that got took to the cleaners with the gas company. You guys are gonna too. The landowners are gonna too. It's not all it's cracked up to be.
Now tell me one other thing. Tell me about the social impacts. Tell me about the community impacts. What are the neighbor to neighbor? What are the issues?
Not good. As soon as you say you have water problems, all the big landowners and the people with wells on their properties, they form groups against you and tell you you're just a lunatic and your water's always been bad, even though none of these people ever lived in this house. They tell you, oh, your water's always been bad, and it's just nothing but negative. Nothing but negative.
Wait, let me see if I understand that. You're telling me that when somebody has water impacts because of gas drilling, the community turns against the victims.
Some turn against you.
A lot of them.
A lot of them do, and almost every one of them are the big landowners and the people with wells on their properties. We've had people all around us that formed a group called Franklin Citizens for Truth that the very next day they were just bashing us, calling us lunatics, saying, oh, your water's not bad, you shouldn't be harassing the town and this and that. Well, you know what, my water was clear. I lived here for a year and a half. My water was clear. All of a sudden one day you flush the toilet, your water turns black. It's so disgusting. How'd you like to bathe in it? You got so much gas coming out of your well all of a sudden that you can't use your kitchen stove to cook your meals. You can't take a shower in your bathroom without leaving windows open in December and January and keep your fan going without worrying about exploding? Bullshit, that's what I say. Exactly what I say. There goes the water truck.
Let's see. Oh, he's making another stop before he comes here.
He's going up there.
He's
Okay.
delivering to the neighbors.
We
Okay.
should film that next. Where's my babies?
That's Diva right there. You wouldn't know it.
What is it?
Her name's Diva, the mom.
Viva?
She's the mother. They're all girls.
I didn't know girl goats had horns.
Yeah, they're just not discolored.
Oh, you're so cute. Tax-deductible donations for water relief can be made to Food and Water Watch and mailed to care of Craig Stevens, P.O. Box 466, Montrose, PA 18801.